our budget comes in at the levels of the...
So you're proposing that we alter Ryan Murray so you can spend $56 billion more next year alone?
What we are proposing...
Yes or no? Is that correct?
We propose a paid-for...
Can't you answer that question simply? Yes or no? Do you propose to spend $56 billion more? So you're spending $56 billion more, and you're going to raise taxes to pay for it, and you think that's acceptable?
Senator, we believe...
And I just want you to know, ask you to tell the American people, do you want to spend more than the President agreed to when he signed Ryan Murray 10 weeks ago? Now, Mr. Donovan, reckless spending endangers the future of the Republic. As Mr. Elmendorf has told us, we remain on an unsustainable debt course. Let me ask you this simple question. Does your budget spend more or less than we agreed to with President Obama and the Budget Control Act of 2011?
Our budget overall reduces spending relative to current law expectations.
I just asked a simple question. You work for the taxpayers, Mr. Donovan. I'm asking you on their behalf a simple question. Does your budget spend more money next year than the current law of the Budget Control Act allows?
Overall, our budget reduces spending compared to current law.
Overall, your budget spends $74 billion more next year than allowed by current law. Isn't that true?
I think what you're focused on, Senator, is discretionary spending. And I think that there is broad agreement that
that's what the Budget Control Act covers.
That sequestration is hurting our military readiness. The Joint Chiefs of Staff testified to that this past week. And it is hurting our ability to invest in the things
you
that
work for
grow
the
our
American
economy.
people, Mr. Donovan. I ask you, do you propose spending more money next year on discretionary accounts than was agreed to in the Budget Control Act? Yes or no? Can you not answer that question?
I believe I've answered it, Senator.
No, you haven't
proposing
answered.
to reverse sequestration. And our budget fully pays for those increased investments on the discretionary side with mandatory spending reductions and cutting spending, wasteful spending in the tax code.
Well, one of the ways you fix a budget problem is when you agree to a spending limit, you stick to it. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Let's just see if we can get this straight. The American people need to know. Do you propose to spend more next year than the Budget Control Act would allow?
We propose to lift the sequestration caps, which have been harmful to our military readiness, that have been harmful to economic growth. We more than fully pay for those with reductions in spending on the mandatory side and reducing wasteful spending in the tax code.
So you intend to spend more than we agreed to. That's all I want you to say. Will you say that?
Our budget proposes
Why won't you say
more
that?
than
What is it
400
about this that allows you to continue in that way?
Senator, I think there is pretty broad bipartisan agreement.
We're going to discuss
that discretionary spending is not driving our deficits. And in fact, our discretionary spending, even with the increases on the discretionary side we propose in our budget,
so you won't give us the American people for whom you work a simple answer to that question.
It
Let me ask
remains
you
at
one
the lowest level as a share of our economy.
Time's running out.